Okay.
I did travel for at least 3 years. I think I did.
I don't mean you're
Have you injured yourself yet?
You're still pretty trashy, Daniel.
I'm not that bad.
That just said that she's played for 8 years.
All right.
No, she
Okay, guys, you got to get going here, okay? So we talked about exponential functions before break, okay?
We did.
A little bit. We got to make sure we haven't forgotten. Okay, got to cut the chatter, guys. We've been talking for a while now. It's time to be listening, okay? Exponential functions. I want to make sure we haven't forgotten what makes an exponential function an exponential function. If I give you something such as this, now just watch for a second here. If I gave you y equals 3 times 2 dx, that's an exponential function. If I give you this, y equals 2.9 times 4/3 dx, that's exponential. If I give you this right here, y equals 7 times x to the third, that is not exponential. Why are these two exponential and this one's not exponential? I mean, the first few letters of exponential are exponent, okay? Any idea, you guys remember from before break, why this is exponential? And it's a real simple explanation. This is exponential, this is exponential, this is not exponential.
Because it has x as a constant.
X has to be the exponent, okay? Now, does this have an exponent here?
Yes,
Sure.
but it's not x.
But it's not x. The exponent's got to be x. To be exponential, it has to have an exponent that's x, an exponent or a power, okay? Now, in this case right here, this is exponential growth, okay? This would be exponential growth. I'm going to make this 2/3. This would be exponential decay. And the reason is, okay, the number raised to the power, that's called the base. If your base is bigger than 1, it's growth.
But if it's
Here, your base, 2/3 is smaller than 1,
Yep.
it's decay, okay? If it was 1, it can't be either 1, okay? Because if I have 1 to a power, what's 1 squared? What's 1 times 1? 1. What's 1 to the third? What's 1 times 1 times 1? 1. What's 1 to the fourth?
One.
What's 1 to any power?
One.
So it's not changing. When you keep multiplying by 1, nothing happens, okay?
1.5.
What's that?
Well, 1 to 1.5.
Well, would 1.5 be growth or decay?
growth.
Growth, why?
Because it's bigger than
It's
one.
bigger than 1. Okay? Doesn't matter, it's just a decimal, okay? It can't be 1. 1 isn't growth or decay, it stays the same. If you keep multiplying by 1, nothing happens. When you times by a number bigger than 1, it gets bigger, it's growth. When you times by something smaller than 1, it's going to be decay, it's going to get smaller, okay? What you need to jot down is this, okay? Exponential functions need to be of the form y equals a times b to the power of x. I would jot that down, okay? Do me a favor, guys, close your lids also, okay? People get distracted when they have their lids up, okay? You'll have plenty of time to click on answers, okay? So, a times b to the x.
What does that say?
And y equals a times b to the power of x. And what we just said a second ago is this: if b is bigger than 1, it's growth. If b is less than 1,
It's decay.
it's decay.
Everybody got that?
All right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to use one more analogy, and then we're going to dive into the assignment, okay? Has anybody ever used a photocopy machine, like in the office or
Yeah.
is it a teacher? Okay. Now, there's a little screen on there, like where it has like a number of copies and, you know, front and back, stuff like that. And there's a little percentage button right here, something percentage. Do you guys know what it normally says there when you just walk in there, when it's all reset, what percent it normally says? It usually says 100%.
Really?
100%. And here's
Something's
why.
wrong with you.
Think about this. If I told you, and I realize there's people that are gone today, but just pretend this is our class. This is our class. Everybody's here today, okay? There's nobody absent, and there's not going to be anybody new tomorrow, okay? If 100% of you are going to be here tomorrow, is this class going to get bigger, or is it going to get smaller?
The same.
It's going to be the same. It's not going to change it, okay? So, what I want you to understand is when you're in the office, you're making a photocopy, and it says 100%, is it going to enlarge it, or is it going to shrink it down?
Keep it the
It's
same.
going to keep it the same. It's not going to change it, okay? And the reason is, 100%, let's go back to middle school here, okay? If I give you 75%, it's been a while since you did this, there's a decimal here, you just don't see it. It's at the end. To make this percent into a decimal, if you forgot, you went 2 spots to the left. 75% is the same as 0.75.
Yep.
What's 50% the same as?
0.5.
0.5 or 0.50, same thing. How about 17%?
0.17.
0.17, okay? These are the same thing. The same thing. It's kind of like this. And don't look around because this is not accurate. Let's just pretend though, okay? would it be accurate to say that 50% of you are guys or half of you are guys? Don't look around because it's not accurate. It's the same thing. I say 50%, you say a half, guess what? We're talking about the same thing. Two different ways of saying the same thing.
I think it's around the same. Right?
Whatever. My point is, though, that I want to make sure you understand that a half and 50% are the same thing.
You're definitely
So,
with girls and
0.75, 75%, same thing. So 100%. The reason why it doesn't change is 100% is what decimal? 1.00, which is what? 1.00 is just what? What happens when you times by 1?
You get one.
It's the same.
He gets the same thing. You don't get 1 necessarily, you get whatever you started with. When he times by 1, nothing happens, okay? So, what we need to understand is this, okay? Actually, let me look at the assignment. I think we can dive right into it now. Okay? They're going to give us this right here, okay? Now, actually, I tell you what. I'm not going to dive into it yet. So normally we'll say that the computer screen says 100%. 100% stays the same. If I told you, listen carefully, okay, this is very important. It's pretty simple, but it's also very important. If I said, okay, I tell you what, I got a student that needs to have something photocopied and their eyesight's not really good, so we need to blow it up a little bit. I want you to blow it up 20%. Watch carefully. So are you going to have 20%? Are you going to type in 20% instead of 100%?
No.
What's going to happen if it was 20%?
It's gonna shrink.
It's going to shrink down a lot. Hang on a second.
Louder.
Hello?
Brooklyn.
Mhm.
Who? Mary.
Oh, no, not yet.
I need to move back to the street.
Does-
How far back it is? I know, mine's.
Is he looking for him or?
But yeah, Brooklyn for sure.
Okay.
She said she's been late for 8 years.
180, 230.
Yeah.
Well, I was the one, no, I was the one that took care of him. I
At
went to call
2:45
him and emailed him, and there was 25 when I.
It wasn't max.
What's up, Demetrius? Got the shades
Okay.
out?
Yeah,
Okay.
why do you have shades on?
Dang it.
Yes, there's no sun out.
Okay, I'll get him.
It's,
I'll
Yeah,
get him.
Demetrius, you got it right.
Bye-bye.
It's the point that counts. Demetrius, hand it
Okay.
over.
So, all right, what he said a second ago, if you put 20% down and then you start making copies, it's not going to get
It's
bigger.
small.
It shrunk it what percent? How much? 80%. It shrunk it down 80%.
120.
So what you need to understand, listen carefully, he's
It's
right.
0.2.
Everything starts with 100%. It's always 100%. 100%, nothing happens. If I told you that this class is going to grow by 20%, there's not going to be 100% of you here tomorrow.
It could be 120.
120%. Now, what if I told you this? Shh. Everything starts with 100%. What if I told you 20% of you are going to be gone tomorrow?
It's 80.
80% are still going to be here, okay? So again, you always start with 100. If 20 go away, we subtract off 20, it's down to 80, okay? So if I told you to shrink it, if I said enlarge it 20%, you'd have 120. What if I said shrink it 20%?
80.
You would have said 80. All right? So what if I said enlarge it 30%?
110.
130.
130. What if I said shrink it 30%?
70.
70. It always, that's what you got to get in your head. It's always starting with 100, or 100 is the same as 1. Not 1%, 1, the number 1.
Yep.
Again, what, I want to say Emily, Kaylee was saying, 100%, what happens with 100%? Or which one is it? I'm just going to call you Delisle. You guys all look the same.
You listen.
100%, nothing changes. When he times by 1, guess what? Nothing changes. When he times by 1 or he times by 100%, nothing changes, okay? All right, so let's look at this very first question. Question number 5, okay?
40.
This is on section 6.4, number 5.
I wish I could get that long.
Okay, so jot this down, okay? So we have 350, 1 plus 0.75 to the t.
This is 5.
Jot this down, number 5. The very first question is number 5, okay? So, what I want you to understand is this.
Just put X.
And we're going to make these, if you want, that's fine. They use t on there. Now, is this going to be growth or is it going to be decay?
Growth.
Why?
Because there's an addition.
Yeah, you're adding, it's going to be more than 1. And don't think hard on this. You know what 1 plus 0.75 is? 1.75. If you really want to, make it 350, 1.75 to the t power. If it's easier, write that, okay? All right, so what I want you to understand is this. It's growth. what you need to understand is this first number is what you're starting with. We're going to put this all with money. We all know what money is, okay? Sometimes I use football analogies. Sometimes I try to throw in a volleyball thing or something. Not everybody likes football. Not everybody likes volleyball. Everybody knows about money, okay? So what we're saying here is you're starting with $350. And what's happening is it's growing by what percent? What percent did it go up? Not 175. No.
75.
It went up 70. If it was 100%, nothing happens. If you have $350 and you keep 100% of it, what are you going to have tomorrow? How about 100% the next day? It's never going to change. But it went up. It didn't go up 175%. It went up just 75%, okay? So you're going to be filling in the blanks. They ask us, okay? They ask us for, what do they want here? A in this case, remember A times B to the x power. A in this case is 350. Okay, you're just going to click on that when you do this eventually, okay? But what I want you to understand is that's what you're starting with. You're starting with $350, okay? B in this case, hang on a second, what do they have right here? Or no, they ask what R is. Your rate. How much is it changing by? Again, it always starts with 100%. It's changing by what? 75%. Do they want 0.75? They want it as a percent. So it's just 75. And the way you're going to know it's a percent, it's going to say R equals box, and next to the box it has a percent symbol. So it's 75%, okay? And then the last thing you need to do is they want to know how much money you're going to have when T is 5, okay? So we plug in 5, 350 times 1.75 to the fifth. You need a calculator. Now do me a favor. Seriously, get your phones out, and I would type it in like this. I would really encourage you to do this. Now don't start typing yet, okay? Think about this. Do you times first or do powers first? I would type it in the order you're supposed to do it. So type in 1.75 to the fifth power. And I don't really care what it says on your screen. Whatever it says on your screen, what's the last thing you still have to do? Times 350.
Wait, what are we doing?
Type in 1. And if you're not sure how to do it on your phone, ask.
If you don't know how to do it on your
1.75
phone,
to the power of 5, not times 5, to the power of 5, then whatever that is, I don't really care what the answer is, times 350. And give it to me to the nearest penny.
oh,
It's
times
gonna
the
be-
answer by
How do you do it?
350?
Times 350. Once you get an answer, shout it out. It's gonna be over $1,000, I'm gonna tell you that. Way more than what you get.
It tells me 3,062.5.
Does
They're-
anybody know how to?
They're saying
add
5,000.
anything?
5744.6?
So
Is that what you got?
1.75.
5744.6? Okay, to the nearest tenth, I'm sorry. So 0.58, move it up to 0.6. To the nearest tenth. So it should be 5744.6. Now, hang on a second here. I want to make sure very clearly here, okay? You've got to be able to type these on your either your computer, your calculator, or whatever, okay? And I'm not here to embarrass anybody, but if you didn't get that, you need to ask, and we'll show you, okay? You got to know how to do it. I want you to use technology to get the answer here, but if you're not getting the right answer, so one more time, if you didn't get this, take 1.75, whatever that is, well, 1.75, to the fifth power.
How do you do that?
8.75.
Yeah.
There's a little decimal.
Or you can just do
That's a lot.
You have an Android.
I can't help that.
Get out.
Since when did it start showing the
Oh, that's why.
Isn't that annoying?
I don't like it. It's crazy.
Times 350.
Like you can see the bit when it's on Snapchat too.
Like
Dude, I
Brooklyn
love
Nets
doing
net.
that.
There you go.
I don't.
I hope you know you
That's
can
it.
grab it and start.
5744 points. They went to the nearest decimal, one place, so
Whenever you're only
0.6.
texting one person,
Well,
you
there's an
can
8,
grab it
so
and
0.6.
move it around.
Okay, anybody else need help on it? Next one. Okay, number 7. Now, listen up here before we do number 7. Does it sound real? Do you expect it to be more than 350? Shouldn't it have been more than 350?
Over your stamps and everything.
Yeah, why? Why was it more than 350?
Because your time's in.
It's got
Wait, so
75%
you
Is this exponential growth or decay?
growth.
If it's growth, the answer better get what? Bigger. If you put money in the bank and you want it to grow, when you check later on, your amount better be what?
Same.
The same? If you want it to grow, better be more. If it's less or the same, something's wrong. Yes, ma'am.
If I
So
just
you
put money in
do
the bank,
the
I'll get more money.
1.75 to the fifth power and then times it by 350?
Yep.
Wait, where did you get the 5? The fifth?
They told you to plug in 5. They said, what is it? What we're saying here is this. If you put $350 in the bank and you had 75% interest, which is not going to happen. That would be so nice. Well, actually, it wouldn't, because if banks gave you 75% interest, they'd go out of business. There's no way. I mean, some real life applications here, okay? You said something, I heard you say something about you put money in the bank, you earn money? Yeah, just so you understand. Like when people buy houses or buy businesses or something like, your dad's buying his business, right? Not Hope.
You're getting this all
Brooklyn?
wrong today.
Yeah.
He doesn't have I'm guessing your dad doesn't have enough money to buy it right out of his pocket. He has to take out a loan for it. If you're gonna make when you buy a car, most people when they buy a nice car, they can't pay for it right up front. They gotta take out a loan. So if you take out a loan for $10,000, are you gonna pay back $10,000?
Yeah.
You're gonna pay more than that. Why? Something called interest. Since somebody's loaning you money, they're doing you a favor, you're gonna pay them back more. You might pay them back $13,000 or $14,000 over a span of like 5 or 6 years, okay? They're helping out. Now it works both ways. When people loan out money, they gotta get money from somewhere else. So when you put money in the bank uses that money to loan to other people, and since you're allowing them to use your money to loan to other people, they'll give you interest, okay? So it works both ways. Like credit cards, I'll tell you right now, credit cards, if you don't know about these things, okay? Credit cards are nice because you can just use them all the time. But their interest is huge. If you don't pay it off, if you have $100 that you owe on it, let's use an easy number, $100, okay? And let's say that's 20% interest, 20% interest, okay? That's what it is. It's like over 20% interest, okay? If you don't pay any of it, do you owe $100 now?
No, you owe more.
You owe $120. What you may think, that's not that big a deal. What if it's $1,000? You owe $1,200. They charge you $200 of interest. Okay, because credit cards are nice, but if you don't pay them off every month, you can dig yourself a huge, huge, huge hole. Okay, so interest works both ways. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I'll tell you right now, if you didn't realize this, like you're buying a house. Let's say you buy a house for $250,000. Any idea how much? Just take a guess. Anybody think how much you're going to pay back over time?
450.
You need to pay it.
It'd be nice. More like about $700,000. It's almost triple. If you buy a house for $100,000, you're probably going to spend about $300,000 in interest. That's how it works. But you need to realize, I'm not saying this is good. If that ticks you off, I understand that. I mean, that's life. But it's spread out over 30 years. So, I mean, that's better. It's still a lot of money, but if you can, the more money you can put down right up front, the less loan you have to take out, the less you're going to pay in the long run. But and again, why don't people just pay $100,000 out of their pocket?
They don't have it.
They don't have it. Most people don't have $100,000.
$100,000.
That's what we're talking about. You're taking out a loan, and they're going to charge you interest. Okay, let's see number 7. Okay, same type question here. So in this case, we have y equals 25, 1.2 to the t power. Okay? Okay, so what is A? How much money are we starting with here? 25 bucks. What is your rate? Now be careful here. 1.2. I would make that into a percent. 1.2, move it 2 spots to the right, what percent is it? So, is it growth or decay?
Growth.
It grew by how much? 120%?
No, it grew by 90.
Just 20. You always start with what? What percent? We always start with 100. So it grew by 20%. Okay, and they always want you to plug in 5, I think. Is it 5? Yes, plug in 5. There's nothing special about 5.
It's 7.
So plug in 5. So type in 25, 1.2 to the 5th power. So type it in and make sure, and again, type it. Nobody's like, I'll just wait for the answer. On test day, you're going to have to be able to type this in. Okay? And give me one decimal place.
62.2.
Point what? Somebody else get 62.2?
Yeah.
Should it have been higher than 25?
Mhm.
Yeah, why?
Because it was growing.
It was growth. You start with 25, it better have more than 25. Again, if you put money in the bank, say you put $100 in there and you don't touch it. You go back in a few years, the amount, if you come back and there's 80 bucks there, something's going on, okay?
Real money.
Somebody's taking money, okay?
Embezzlement.
Number 9. Okay. How about this one? 1,500? 1,500 times 1.074 to the T?
The more money you leave in the bank, is it, well, okay, so like, you were talking like if you leave 80 in there, it will grow over time.
But
If you were to leave more money than,
Oh, yeah.
say like 5,000.
Let's use
What
easy
is-
numbers.
what-
Let's use
what
easy
is
numbers.
that 1,580?
Let's say 10%, which is not gonna, a bank's not gonna give you 10%. They're not, but it's an easy number to work with, okay? If you put $100 in the bank, you get 10% of that, which is $10. For doing nothing. They give you $10, okay?
Leaving it.
He puts $1,000 in there. He gets 10%, which is $100. It's the same percent, but it's just a, it's a high, there's more money, so it's gonna even more interest. But that's the thing with houses and cars. If you, like, buy a house or a car, let's say they're both 10%. Well, 10% of a house compared to 10% of a car,
Is a big difference.
it's a huge difference, okay?
The 10% of the house could pay for the car.
Right.
The entire car.
Yep. All right, this one right here. So how much are we starting with? How much money?
1,580.
1,500. 1,500, okay? Let's make this into, now again, make this into a percent, 1.074. We move it 2 spots to the right. So it's 107.4%. So, is it growth or decay?
Growth.
Growth. Why?
Because it's more than 100.
More than 100. Everything's always 100, guys. So, how much did it grow by? 7.4%. And then again, I think it's always 5. There's nothing special about 5. Your answer better be more than 1,500. So type in 1,500, 1.074 to the 5th. And again, I can't do this in my head. Go ahead and type in. Your answer better be more than 1,500. If not, you punch something in wrong.
Is that a 1?
Right here? 1,500, 1.074 to the 5th.
I was
Why do you
asking
make
for the
something
R
go to
equals.
a power?
Where?
The R equals?
Oh, right here? That's a 7.
Okay. Oh, yeah, then I've been doing
Is your screen locked? Yeah.
What's the matter?
They're up right here.
I am.
My cell phone never freezes up on me.
Okay. Cam.
Yeah.
Why
Still.
do I get
You don't have
It
a
doesn't.
cell phone.
Still. Swipe up.
Well, it's not a lie.
It's not locked, so like,
He's
you
got the
guys
most
having practice
reliable
today?
phone.
Got an answer, guys?
You guys have practice today?
Yeah.
I thought about it because I don't know what to do.
Is it supposed to rain?
Hope not.
I hope not.
Turn your head.
I'm 3 hours practice.
Look up and look.
Aw, we get an hour and a
I
half.
don't like doing inside practice for baseball.
Anybody get an answer?
Dude,
No,
inside
I
it.
can't.
What'd you get?
Inside is best.
What do you mean? I don't like it inside.
2,000? What'd you get?
Dingers.
The cage. The cage.
Shh, guys.
143.
Point. 0.4. Yep. 2143.4.
It's not gonna rain.
2143.4.
Let's say, all we do is nothing.
Okay, number 11. Let's keep going.
It's actually supposed to get nicer.
That's not what I got.
It doesn't look like it.
Type it in
I
again.
got 2,143.
Well, yeah, that's over there.
0.4.
But there's nothing on the radar.
Yeah, but
It's moving west.
That's what we got. Just want one decimal place. Just one. We're rounding to one decimal place, guys. Number 11.
Never mind.
you can just.
Okay, same type thing. Okay, 6.72.
Device just-
6.72 times 2 to the T. All right, so in this case, what's A? What are we starting with?
Well, that's not these.
$6.72, okay? So, make 2 into a percent. Now, where's the decimal at? I don't see it, but it's there.
Do we have to put into a percentage?
I would, because they're asking for a percent. They're always asking for a percent. Make this into a percent. Move it 2 spots. So what is that? 200%. So be careful. Is it growth or decay? How much did it grow by?
100.
Why?
Because it's.
Because it's over 100. I don't know.
Well, we always start with what?
100.
And we're at 200, so it went up by
100.
100%. It went. You always start. I've said this a dozen times. I'm gonna keep saying it. You always start with 100. If you're at start with 100 and you're at 200, it went up 100%. Plug in 5.
The says it's just cloudy, but it's not supposed to rain.
Yeah.
Okay. What's 6.72 times 2 to the 5th?
What's 75 times 2 to the 5th? Oh, you said.
What's 6.72 times 2 to the power of 5? Enter.
I know what it is.
Again, the answer better be more than 6.
6.72
times 2 to the 5th.
Hunter. So you're gonna start practicing after JP field today.
Wait, what?
That sucks. That feels so.
Kale.
Yes.
What's so bad about that field?
It's just
No, 2 to the,
not nice.
You're gonna love it.
Crappy.
I'm just gonna say you're gonna love it.
What does that mean?
It's just not as nice as
What time do you guys
baseball.
start?
Hey, like it's not even. It's not.
And it's a softball field.
You're not
That's it.
gonna wanna
get
slide.
another mold of your.
It's a softball field.
Is it
so-
super rough?
Oh my
Type in
gosh.
6.7.
The
It's a
dirt is
softball
like
field,
this.
so there's no grass.
Times 2,
Except in the outfield, obviously.
then XY.
And the other one
Plus
isn't
five.
there?
You're supposed to slide.
Hunter, you slide on your stomach, side.
You guys get 2.15.0?
Well, I'm just saying, this is how the dirt is.
215.0 should be.
Seriously?
Okay, and guys,
Not nice.
talk about track stuff later, whatever, okay?
Alright.
Whatever you're talking about, talk about it later. I'm just saying, those of you that are not typing stuff in, good luck on your, I mean, did you know what you were doing?
What?
Did you know what you were doing, how to type this in?
Yeah. Oh, no.
What'd you do?
I did.
Mr. KO, how do you do this? And I showed you how to do it. You know how to do it now?
Yeah.
I'm just showing you guys here, okay? If you don't know how to do it, on test day, if you're like, I don't know how to type this in, what my response is gonna be? Sorry. You should have asked me, then, okay? Yes.
I know that direction up and down, but you know, stop it.
Okay. Yes, yes, ma'am.
That was very confusing. I don't understand anything.
Okay, let's look at the next one. I'm gonna have you do this one with me, okay? Let's look at number 13. Okay, so they get, okay. This one's a little bit different.
So are we doing 12 or 13?
13. Doing every other problem.
Wait. What's the letter again? I didn't. I thought I read it. I
215.0.
think I'm having a stroke.
What's that?
I think I'm having a stroke because I thought I just wrote it down.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, number 13. This is a little bit different. It says you have $10,000. You have $10,000 and it's increasing? Increasing 65%. Okay, so you always have them of the form A times B to the X. A is how much money you're starting with. How much are we starting with?
10,000.
10,000. So we put 10,000.
Times by 6.
Now, it's increasing 65%. Okay, let her do it, okay? What percent do we always start with?
So do you want it split?
100. And it's
165.
increasing, so I'm gonna write 165%. Now, when you put it in the formula, it's gotta be a decimal though. Move it 2 spots to the left. So it'd be 1.65. And they want you to use, I'm gonna tell you right now, they want you to use what variable? They want you to use t. You've gotta use t. If you type in x, it's gonna say it's wrong. To the t
Why did
power.
I do this for us? T just looks like a plus sign, that's why I don't put it.
Now, they just want you to set up the formula. That's all they want you to do. That's it. Okay? That problem's done. That's all you do. All right, a few more and then we'll
Wait,
stop.
what does this mean?
They want you to come up with an expression that mimics the situation. What this is saying is you're starting with $1,000 and it's increasing 65% every day, week, month, year, whatever time period. It doesn't matter. Say it again. You sure? Okay. Let's look at 15. Okay. 210,000 people. This time I'm talking about people. 210,000 people, and it's increasing 12.5%.
In like a week,
Okay.
is this like a week, years or
Say
not?
my name.
Time span, like-
Say don't tell me.
Toss him a
It
name.
really doesn't matter. I mean, in a certain time period, I would say every year, every 10 years, I don't know. It doesn't matter though, okay? Whatever T represents. So what's A in this case? What are we starting with? 210,000
Times by.
times, well, it's increasing 12.5%. 120.
112.5.
112.5. We always start with 100. You know, it's increasing. What's 100 plus 12.5? 112.5%. Make it a decimal though.
What is that? 12.5.
Yep.
Point
Don't
Nope.
you have to move it forward? So
2 spots.
11.
No, 2
Yeah.
spots. 1 point. What?
125.
To the what power?
The T.
And again, why do they use T? You could have used X. They want you to use T. It says right on the computer, use T.
Well, it would probably stand for time. because
Could
it's
be.
all based around like the amount of time we'll walk.
Okay, so I mean, what we're getting at is this, okay? Exponential functions, again, you have what you're starting with times how it's changing to the number of times it changes. That's what it is, okay? we're gonna spend several more days on this. This section has a lot of questions in it, which is good. The more practice at it you get, okay?
Seems pretty simple, like
So,
easy to understand.
It'll be easier tomorrow, okay?
Yes.
Just drop my phone.